that's when we're dealing with a lot of staff, a lot of therapy in order to take care of these folks. We're going to talk about the skilled nursing. We're also going to then look at unit potential and market penetration, market saturation rates for independent living, assisted living, and memory care as well. But the nursing home portion really has a lot to do with the financial aspects of senior living campuses and how are we going to deal with that type of population going forward. When we look at the skilled nursing facility markets, you all know better than anybody that you're in a very competitive market for skilled nursing. There's roughly 972 nursing home beds in this yellow area that we had talked about. A lot of these, you can see there's a mix of providers from for-profit providers, not-for-profit providers, standalone nursing homes, and also quite a few actually because of your location of this market area. There's a lot of skilled nursing that is embedded in continuing care campuses, such as yourselves here at Milwaukee Catholic Home, or next door, or a 9-iron away at St. John's. There's just a lot of skilled nursing in the area. I'm going to introduce Colin Higgins now. Again, Colin is our Director of Analytics in Minneapolis, and I'm going to have Colin walk through nursing home demand, meaning what do we see happening with nursing home demand in the future, and really, and also talking a lot about the hospital discharges, because really that is who we need to be able to have a relationship with, are these acute care providers who are really controlling or will control the flow of residents. I mean, it's completely different than Linda in independent living. I mean, it's we're marketing to the actual end user or to the customer. As we get in skilled nursing, there is there's still today there's provider choice or customer choice, but customer choice is going to begin to continue to narrow, because it's going to be about who can provide that care the most efficiently, the least expensive, and with the best outcomes. And we're going to get into some of those things later. All right, you there, Colin?
I'm here.
All right, you're on.
Great. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
We're going to concentrate on slides 12 and 13 right now, which is the nursing home bed demand. The nursing home bed demand that we calculated, and just to be clear, is overall nursing home beds. That's a combination of your long-term care and your subacute beds. Long-term care, of course, being people that are permanent residents of the nursing home, and subacute being people that are going to come to your nursing home for a short period to do rehab therapy and then return back to their home. We calculated the nursing home bed demand for your primary market area, which is the yellow highlighted area on the map that we looked at earlier. And we looked at two different scenarios for nursing home bed demand. Nursing home bed demand has been declining on both a state and national level. The biggest decline is in the Medicaid long-term care population. And the reason for this is really a couple of reasons. Number one is patient preference. Most people do not want to end their life in a nursing home if they have options. If we took a poll in this room and asked how many people in the room would like to finish their lives, have the final days being cared for in their nursing home, I'm going to assume that the majority of people are not going to raise their hand. Now, nursing homes have a place. They do provide an important function, and some people are not going to have the option that are being made available to others. Home acute-based services are becoming much more prevalent because of the population increase that Tim alluded to, the baby boomers aging. We cannot afford to have Medicaid caring for people in nursing homes anymore like we had in the past. So we are putting more funds in more options for people to remain in their own home or pay for alternative settings such as assisted living. And the government's pushing this because it's going to be less costly in the future, but it's also being pushed from a consumer preference because a vast majority of people prefer to be cared for in their home or in a non-institutional setting such as assisted living if they have that option. So when we look at our scenarios, we are looking at what the current demand is. What does nursing home bed demand look like in 2014? And then we're looking 5 years into the future, in 2019, if we continue to see that decline in nursing home census, what do we project that nursing home need is going to be? The first demand is based on utilization. Utilization does vary by age. The older we are, the more likely we are to use a nursing home. Nursing home is really primarily filled by people aged 75 plus. Although seniors are age 65 plus, 65 to 74-year-olds are more independent, tend to be more healthy. And so if they are in a nursing home, it tends not to be long-term care, it tends to be more subacute. It's really age 75 plus that we start to utilize nursing homes at a higher rate, and really 85 plus where we're in a higher likelihood of being in long-term care. And so we looked at utilization to determine the current demand, and then we assume that utilizations are going to continue to decline at a steady rate that we've been seeing over the last 5 years. The second scenario we looked at is number of seniors per occupied bed. Historically, we've been seeing nursing home census decline both nationally and on the state level, even though we're seeing an increase in the number of seniors. And so the second scenario looked at if the number of seniors continues to grow and nursing home census continues to decline. Right now we're seeing a certain number of seniors per occupied bed, and what's that going to look like into the future if that scenario continues?
So really what, Colin, let me jump in here real quick. So what Colin's got here is he's got two different scenarios, or two different methodologies, I should say. Seniors per occupied bed is one scenario, or is one methodology, and then utilization is another. And if you and then in the middle, he's put the average, and you can see there is really little difference in bed demand between the two methodologies. What you are saying is, basically the market is oversupplied theoretically with nursing home beds by 90, and that number is going to only increase. It's going to almost double by the year 2019. John Sauer from the Leading Age Wisconsin chapter gave Dave a slide here, which really supports what we're showing in terms of bed demand or long-term care. There was capacity for 48,000 residents in 2001, and you go down here to June of last year, that number went from 48,000 to 35,000. And that number is going to continue to decline. What does that mean? That means those providers that aren't providing the best outcomes, the best patient-centered care, the best outcomes that the hospitals are looking for, guess what? Their doors are going to be closing. And what's happening also is what Colin was alluding to is about consumer choice. Who wants to live in a nursing home? You're seeing a huge uptick in those other senior living type choices, such as assisted living, are known in the great state of Wisconsin as RCFE and CBRF. But you look at the numbers here, capacity for assisted living, 12, 13 years ago was roughly 26,000. It's doubled to 50,000, meaning that that person who we traditionally took care of in a nursing home is now being taken care of in assisted living. And the type of person that we're taking care of today in our nursing homes are older, more frail. They have different comorbidities, which meaning they're not just in there for one thing. There's a whole lot of stuff going on, and that's where we're really seeing the changes. So from the long-term care perspective, our nursing teams need to continue to get better on the clinical side, because what we're seeing is, I started 25 years ago in this business, and I started at a 450 bed facility in Minneapolis. The whole main floor, all 450 people came down to eat dinner. Well, fast forward 25 years, that dining room went away 20 years ago because people can't come down anymore. People moved in. My grandmother moved into a nursing home. They carried their little suitcase and moved in. Doesn't happen now. That person is very, very frail. And it has to do with a lot of the subacute and the hospital needing to move that person through the continuum at what's going to work best from a financial standpoint.